You can delete those time management apps and stop searching for new self-control technique, because none of these things help you to manage procrastination. The actual reason behind procrastination is not because we avoiding a certain task, we avoiding certain emotions and feelings that come along with doing that task. And the reason we continue procrastinate, and it's not one-time thing and actually a cycle, is because when we avoid that certain bad emotion or that certain feeling, we get reward. Our brain gives us reward for that procrastination. So we basically get reward for procrastination because our brain is like, oh, you trying to write this book associates with feelings of self-doubt, frustration, insecurities, fear of judgment, and other negative things. So from now on, I will keep you from writing that book at all costs because it associates with negative emotions. But when we saw a motivational video or missed our deadline for the 100th time, we're like, okay, enough. And you download these useless apps. You go around internet and you start to listen to all sorts of advices people have out there. You have to wake up before 5 a.m. You have to follow 3-minute rule. You have to follow this rule and that rule and do that and do that and do another 100, if not thousands of rules for productivity. And then you try to do all of that. You actually started waking up early. And you might have even enjoyed it, or most likely you dreaded the idea of waking up early, and because of that, you started procrastinating even more, and you started hating yourself because, man, I cannot even follow the simple steps. What can I do? Sounds familiar? Then watch this video until the end if you do not want to go through that again. But if you do want to go through that again, if that's fun for you, then I recommend not watching this video, because after watching this video, you will not be able to go back to that cycle. So choice is yours. The first thing you have to do is not download some crazy app or follow this rule or follow that rule. First thing you have to do is show yourself self-compassion, because if you will not forgive yourself for the past times when you were procrastinating, you'll never stop procrastinating. There are several studies that show that self-compassion helps motivation and personal growth in many different ways. Not only does it make you feel less stressed, which is a big reason why we put things off and procrastinate, but it also makes you more motivated and makes you feel good about yourself. It helps you to feel positive and ready to take on the challenge. Best of all, self-acceptance doesn't require anything external. It just requires kindness from you and understanding from you, rather than rumination and regret. The reason why waking up at 5 a.m., following 3-minute rule, 2-minute rule, 20-20-20 rule work for someone, and for someone it doesn't, is because productivity is personal. I can go ahead and tell you to wake up in the morning, to do that and do that and do that, but there is no guarantee that the things that work for me would work for you. And there's also a high chance if some of productivity tips, some of productivity things work for your favorite content creator, favorite person, favorite social media person, influencer, friend, it doesn't mean it will work for you. There's no guarantee it will work for you. There's high chance it won't work for you, because people cannot solve your problems for you. They can only give you solutions, ideas, tips, stuff like that, and then you try to cultivate them in your life and see if they work. So you have to try and try and try new things, because if you will not try to wake up at 5 a.m., you will never know if it's something that actually you enjoy or it makes you productive. So you have to try all these things under the sun there are and just understand what works for you. And the thing is, what works for you for a month, a year, 10 years can suddenly change. And you then have to find new ways that work for you, because nothing is constant. Everything's changing. There is no one way to be successful or productive. There are as many night owls that are producing fabulous work as there early birds. What they all have in common is they have some kind of sacred time for their work. Either it's 5 a.m., 3 p.m., 3 a.m. It's the time of the day when work is better for them, when they work better. I'll tell you even something else that might shock you. Working more doesn't mean being more productive. It's actually the opposite. Studies have shown that everyone has roughly 3 to 4 hours of productive time per day. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what your profession is, you truly have 3 to 4 productive hours a day. That's all. Whole day, that's only 3 to 4 hours you can be truly productive. But you know what? You can totally go and work for 16 hours and getting distracted every hour and taking lots of breaks and ending up burnout in a week or so. It's your choice. But the smart decision would be to optimize your day around those 3 to 4 hours and work or study when you feel most creative, most productive, most ready to learn something, and be happy of how you spend those 3 to 4 hours instead of hating yourself and getting distracted on TikTok for 2 hours. Okay, let's return to the more you work, the less productive you will be. There's this thing as productivity curves, which basically concludes that after working on a certain task for a long time, you start performing that task worse and worse. And you will inevitably end up not only working for too long, but also fixing the mistake you did when your productivity curve was in the end. But you force yourself to work. Also, we have this weird obsession and belief that if we do more, that means we're more productive. Again, total BS. Because productivity is not doing more. Productivity is consistently doing the important things. Being productive is about maintaining steady and average speed on things that are important and not maximum speed on everything. A little tip, since human brain for some reason loses unfinished projects and creates some kind of tension when we have unfinished project, start your project and finish it as early as you can. I know it's a cliche, I know you've heard it a million of times, but it's cliche for a reason. So start sooner rather than later. There are 2 types of people in this modern world. First one is people who control their attention well, and second one are those whose attention is controlled by someone else. That's why eliminating distractions while you work or study or do some important project is very important. If you want to be first type of person, of course. If you want to be a second type of person, what I would advise is download even more apps, follow even more people, spend even more time on social media, spend more time watching TV, or even better, do both. Watch TV and scroll social media. After doing that, you will be the best second group in the world. You'll be best of the best of people who cannot control their own attention. And if you want to be the group of people who control their own attention, then I would advise doing the opposite of what I just said. When you procrastinate, it's not because you're a lazy couch potato, it's because it challenges your identity. And the more something threatens our identity, the more we avoid it. Becoming a millionaire can threaten your identity as much as becoming broke. Becoming a famous star worldwide can challenge your identity as much as losing your job. That is why so often people are afraid of success, for the same exact reason they're afraid of failure. It threatens who they are and what they know now. So the best thing you can do is to define yourself in mundane, broad way. Instead of looking at yourself and describing yourself as genius, as upcoming star, as victim of circumstances, as failure in this area. Just to see yourself as a student, as a friend, as a partner, as a creator, because the narrower and the rarer identity you choose for yourself, the more everything will begin to threaten you. And with those threats will come avoidance, the fear, and the procrastination, of course. It's you versus you for the rest of your life, babe. I think you knew that already. But what you didn't know is that we have critical self. Critical self is part of us who knows that we have to finish doing this project rather than go clubbing or watch a movie. And there are experiential self who wants to live in a moment, who wants to maximize every moment, who doesn't really care about that project, who wants to watch a movie right now or go clubbing or do something, want to maximize every moment. And the second important thing that you have to know is they are not friends, not even close. Your experiential self likes to maximize every moment, not just few hours, not just few days, but your whole life. Maximize every moment throughout your whole life. And your critical self is left there to suffer the consequences of experiential self. From not so damaging as like missing your deadline by a few hours to very damaging as like ending up in the hospital at 30 because of how you decided to spend your 20s. Experiential self likes things in a moment, like drinking, smoking, taking drugs, texting your ex. That is experimental self. When you allow your experimental self to live fully in every moment of every day in your life, when you do that, you take something away from another person, from a person you don't even know. That person is your future self. And because of that, you have to find a way to lock in your critical self instead of experimental self. I think everyone experienced that when we care less about the outcome of something, it's easier for us to do that. It comes more naturally. But when we really care about the outcome, it's harder for us to do that same thing. That is one of many things how positive thinking can destroy us. Because a lot of people, when they procrastinate, they like to give themselves a little pep talk. You are smart, you're strong, you are amazing, you can do that. That essay is nothing for you. You are smarter than this assignment. You can do that in the blink of an eye. You can do that. You're amazing, and so on. But the more you talk to yourself that way, the more your identity revolves around the idea that you are the smartest, that you're amazing, that you're that and that and that. And the more labels you have around yourself, smartest, most amazing, great, genius, the less action you're gonna do, because the more any action you will take, the more it could threaten that label you put on yourself. And because action threatens your newfound belief of how amazing of an essay writer you are, the less likely you will take an action towards actually doing something. And before you will come after me in the comments, self-compassion and giving yourself pep talks and putting labels on yourself is two different things. So, okay, let's rewind to the beginning of this video when I told you that the reason we're procrastinating is because we're trying to avoid those negative feelings. So how to manage those emotions and feelings in a healthy way? First one is self-awareness and curiosity. If you are tempted to procrastinate, bring attention to the emotions and sensation that are rising up in your body and mind. Which emotions are triggering you to procrastinate? Do they evoke any memories or associations? As you observe the thought of procrastination, does it become bigger? Does it become stronger? Or prompt other emotions? Notice how the sensation in your body change so you can maintain self-awareness about them. You can also journal those emotions, those feelings, those sensations. It will help you to keep track of, okay, well, I wanted to write a book, but I felt this, and this. And then you will be like, okay, noted. And then you like want to write a book again and you feel this emotions, but not that anymore. And you write it down consistently to the things you feel procrastinated to, and you write down the negative emotions you have around them. And then think about next step and the next step only. I know that there is this popular thing in goal achieving and productivity and self-improvement thing that you have to break down your goal into little pieces, and you know, it helps. But when it comes to procrastination, it's overwhelming for us to even look at these little steps. So the best thing we can do is to only focus on the next step, because by only focusing on the next step, it helps to manage our stress levels and helps us to become calmer and less anxious. And also, don't wait around, don't sit around for motivation to strike, to start doing something when you feel like it, because motivation is a result of action. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Next one is make it more inconvenient to procrastinate. It's easier for us to change environment or our circumstances than it is to change ourselves. And with that knowledge, we can take advantage of procrastination. The same thing as with our bad habits. And by placing certain obstacles between our temptation, we create certain degree of frustration and anxiety, which is a good thing in this scenario because we are trying to avoid procrastination or our bad habits. If you compulsively check social media, you can delete the apps or just change the pin after you reach your screen time, not for number pin, but harder pin with like 12 numbers and letters. Or as I did, I gave my phone to my mom and I told her, please put their password you want, and I couldn't know. I told her, don't tell me. And anytime I would reach the screen limit on certain app, mostly TikTok, I would come to her and tell her, please can you put the password in? And she would make fun of me that I cannot live without social media, so I had an obstacle of someone making fun of me also. But usually she wasn't around me, so I had to wait for her to get home or me to get home for her to put the password in. And most of the times I did not even ask her. I did not even wait for her to come home because it wasn't really worth it to go through all the troubles for me to just, hang out on TikTok. By taking this action, you are introducing new obstacles to your procrastination cycle, which reduces the immediate reward value of your temptation. Also, make the thing you want to do as easy as possible, or even inevitable not to do. For example, if you want to get fit to lose weight, buy a gym membership with personal trainer in that gym for 6 months. It's gonna be very hard for you not to go to a gym because you will feel guilty that you paid so much money for that you will force yourself out of guilt to go there. And after you will go out of guilt for a few weeks, for months, then it will become a habit to you and it's gonna be way easier for you. Or if you are not a morning person and you decided to go for a run in the morning, you can even go to sleep in your workout clothes. We also tend to procrastinate less when we have higher confidence. So high self-confidence is a very important aspect to consider when trying to stop procrastinating. So if you want to level up your confidence, to have higher confidence, watch this video that I have here. And also send this video to the person who would benefit from it, who, is procrastinating and going through a hard time with their deadlines. Also, this is the end of the video, but if you are in a creative workspace and you're struggling to write a book, to do something creative, everyone is a creative person, but if you are in a creative workspace, what helps me is something from this book, Big Magic, by Elizabeth Gilbert. What she writes about here is the story that Lawrence Stern wrote. It says specifically here what Tristan claims he would do when he was feeling stupid and blocked, and when his thought would rise heavily and pass through his pen. Instead of sitting there in the funk, staring hopelessly at an empty page, he would leap from his chair and get fresh razor and give himself a nice clean shave. After that, he would engage in his elaborate transformation. I change my shirt, put on a better coat, send for my last wig, put on my topaz ring upon my finger, and in word, dress myself from one end to another of me after my best fashion. Because what she says here, why wouldn't creativity hide from you? Look at yourself. Which basically means if you like feeling that you're in a funk and you were doing creative work for the last few days, change from your PJs, organize something in your room, take care of yourself. It helps me, it maybe even help you. I don't know, I just decided to put it out there because this is like the best book I ever read about creativity. This is truly, if you want to read something, read this. I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you get something from it, and thank you for watching until the end. Okay, love you, bye!